Week 4 of Summer Access underway. Already hard to believe week 4 as the Saluki basketball team continues to get some good work done. One of the 6 returners, Davion Sykes, joins us to start off week 4. Davion, how's 3 full weeks been? Now the anxious and getting ready to start week 4. How's it going? How's it feeling?
Everything's been good. Like you said, it's a little awkward. It's week 4 already. Feel like we just got here in summer, but it's been really good.
What's great for me is to see your growth just over the last year. And we were kind of talking about your growth the last time we caught up there in May. But I visibly just see you smile more, showing more of your personality. Do you feel that way? Like, what's led you to just kind of show us more of who Davion Sykes is this summer than maybe a year ago at any point?
Nah, yeah, definitely. I'm starting to feel like myself a lot more. This is the person that I kind of came in here with. I lost myself a little bit last year, but I feel like I'm getting back to myself. That time off, going back home, and just kind of being separate from here in Carbondale just allowed me to reflect and a lot of time to come with myself and actually come back and show who I am.
You said you wanted to come back and show who you were, and we touched up on those things again a little bit in May on what you wanted to pinpoint. But now that you've been here, you've been here in the summer for 3 weeks, what would you say has been a point of emphasis for you that you've really tried to showcase in the 3 weeks, whether it's something on the floor or just in terms of being a leader in the locker room?
I really just wanted to kind of just show my presence, whether that's on and off the floor. Just kind of let everybody know I'm here. Offensively, defensively, in the locker room, at home, just kind of, be that presence and, just showcase, like Davion is, this is it for him.
We've talked a lot about just you showing your personality more, and especially around this group. It's a different feel this summer, and I've tried to explain that to a lot of our fans, and we've talked about it a lot in these interviews that we've done this summer. How would you describe just the different feeling that you guys have as a team? What makes this group special?
Definitely with Coach, getting the guys in, the new recruits, I feel like we gelled almost instantly. It's a camaraderie of guys that we're gelling. We all like each other. We're always having fun with each other. Just yesterday we're all together in my house, watching the game. So just having that off the court and then just being able to bring that on the court is definitely a different type of chemistry this year. That I feel like we all, genuinely like, especially the returners. We all kind of see it and we're like, yeah, we're starting to like this.
We were talking about with Drew last week, and one of the questions I asked him was, yes, I think everyone knows that there are always going to be significant voices within your team, guys who maybe speak up more than others. But this year it almost appears that you hear more voices in a practice, and we're not just talking about just defensive communication, the drills you've been doing. From a leadership standpoint, have you felt that with this group, that there are multiple voices that are heard more than just one or two?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, just with the 6 returners, just kind of speaking on them in a sense of, we are the returners, and, we do have to teach these newcomers that are coming in, our ways and, how we do, how we play Saluki basketball. So, just having that and then just also bringing in, 2 other seniors, Zay and then Prince, just having them two, they've been in programs for multiple years and they know how stuff works, and it's their senior year as well. So, they have an older voice as well, and it just, I feel like it works because everybody has something to say and everybody listens to each other, and just having multiple voices just allows practice to never be quiet, allows things to never go unspoken because someone's always going to speak up about it.
Going through the weeks of practice, when you think of the guys who have been back, when you've been through the year with them, those 6 returners, what are you guys showing right now in terms of, hey, this is where we've gotten better collectively as a group?
I think that time off, in the spring allowed us to kind of, really build chemistry. Because, it was just us, us 6. We're playing 3-on-3. We're getting up shots together. We're lifting together. We were competing, against each other almost day to day in the spring. And it was just something that we built from there that we wanted to kind of carry over here to show the new guys, hey, like, this is how we're going to do it. So I feel like in our own way, we kind of built a standard, and I feel like right now we're kind of speaking on it in a sense of with our actions and with our words.
When you go through a year like you did, I don't want this to be a exact carbon copy of a question I asked you earlier in May, but when you go through a year where you know, I didn't live up to what I wanted to. I think at times, Davion, not to speak for yourself, but you could see that you were playing with a stress level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you get to the summer and ultimately to the year, what do you try to do just day to day when you get some downtime to help yourself be more free? And is kind of what we alluded to at the start of your interview, play more within your personality to where you can tell there's not a stress level with you other than just, hey, we just want to go out and we want to win a game.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, just kind of getting in a mindset of, like, when I went back home, it was a mindset of, like, when I'm in between these lines, it's all business. I can still have fun, and I do understand that. But, right now, it's kind of all business, and, it's trying to get this team to a certain level that coach wants. But, outside of the court, it's just me relaxing, me just kind of decompressing because I feel like, I'm kind of starting to put a lot into, inside these four lines. So just being outside of there and just relaxing, just kind of giving myself some time to come back and then do it all over again. I feel like that's been helping myself.
Within the team workouts, they've been very heavy. I hate to put a weight on them, but they're probably 95% defensive focus
Yeah.
in what you've done to this point. Maybe it's even higher. That may be a little bit lower. What have you guys gotten out of them so far this summer in terms of the defensive focus when you guys been together as a team?
Defensively, I feel like we slowly gotten better. Just kind of you could kind of see it, when we go up and down. When we're kind of just playing open gym. I feel like you can kind of see it. I think it allows us, to kind of connect more because, like, not everybody wants to go into a practice and be like, oh, we're doing defense all day today. So I think just being able to have everybody kind of switch their mindset, like, yeah, we're doing defense today. It's been, somewhat, I wouldn't say a struggle, but it's been a mindset change of, like, yeah, we got to do defense again. Like, yeah, we got to do defense again. And I feel like that's just coach's focus point because, he wants to be, all league defense, So, just kind of teaching the team, our defensive principles and everything. I think it's been very, very well. I think everybody's, we're really benefiting from it. It allows us to compete. And I feel like that's starting to show.
What can you show, and maybe not necessarily just show, what can your capabilities be for this team from a defensive perspective? What can you bring?
I honestly feel like I'm very versatile, so I could guard 1 through 5. So I think just being that presence of, I could switch on almost anybody and we'll be fine. Getting, maybe our smaller guys off of bigs in a backside rotation or having to guard the ball when, somebody else off a screen, if my man sets a screen, and then I could go guard the ball and, we'll have no worries. Just kind of, being that, like I said earlier, just kind of being that presence on defense. It's something also I've, trying to been working on this coming up year too, because that's something that coach kind of expects of me, and I'm trying to give it to him.
When you look at practices and specifically how they end, how Coach Nagy, for the most part, structures your practice, sometimes he gives you guys an opportunity to play 5-on-5 at the end of practices, and there's always that moment where I'll be like, all right, let's bring it in, and then the guys are like, let's keep going. Like, we still want to play,
Yeah.
and it kind of gets to the competitive nature of the group. How would you describe it?
I like it, honestly. Because, you get to a point of practice where it's like, we're like, okay, we're done. And then you get that guy. But, like, you truly never want to be done. If you're losing, winning, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, we're done. But someone wants to keep going. And it's like, Coach, yeah, can we go? And he's like, yeah, come on. And so I feel like, they just – now that next game is just – it just kind of sparks our energy. Just the other day, we were in here hooping, and we were supposed to only play 3 games. Then we ended up playing 4. Then we ended up playing 5, and then we went in the first 1 to 5 games. And there's 3 teams, and we're like, we were up here for 2 hours, just by ourselves, and we were just going. And it was like, no, I'm not stopping till I win. And at a certain point, like once everybody's done, then we're done. But I just like the fact that everybody wants to compete.
I hope you understand this question, and it's more to try to get our fans to relate to what a player's mindset is. And look, there is a lot that you learn out here on the floor when it gets within a drill. but it's also pertained to that drill compared to when you get to play 5-on-5 and just things free flow. They're not as controlled as a drill. How much more as a player do you look forward to, not just from the standpoint of just being able to play? Everybody wants to play Davion and open it up and go play. But how much more you learn because when you do 5-on-5 and you play 5-on-5, it's not as contained to a drill. You actually learn a lot more because things happen on a fly that you can't necessarily totally expect as you drill it up compared to playing a game.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like a lot of drills, I mean, they're situational. I mean, especially, when we do our defense, everything's kind of situational. And so you just kind of carry over that and take it to when you play and you free play. And, I mean, like you said, and, I mean, even on the court, everything's situational too. So it may be the same pass, but it's not the same area of where the drill was. So now you have to adjust and, use your creativity. And I feel like that's kind of where, you see a lot of, like, when we get the hoop, that's when you see a lot of our creativity just kind of pop out from everything that we learned. And I feel like a lot of it works. So, just being able to, just free play, it's us using our creativity at some point and not just, being stuck in, the confined drill that we were doing.
You brought up that obviously you're living with Drew Steffi this year.
Yes.
Is he as big of an official at home as he is here on the floor in practice? Like, does he direct things across and boss you around and call things out as clearly as he does in practices?
We've definitely had a couple discussions at home about who fouled and who didn't. So, I mean, he's great. He's talking a lot. I mean, that's the person, I've been knowing my whole life, honestly, is the person that talks way too much. But, living with him, it's definitely funny, though, because we've had our discussions at home.
You're talking more this year, but you're still no doubt the more soft-spoken one compared to Drew Steffi.
Yes.
Drew, no doubt, is not shy to use his voice. But I say that a year ago, not to say Drew was very soft-spoken, but you can also sense with him, man, there is just more of a swagger with him on the floor. What does it mean as a teammate to see a guy start to build that confidence, and not just confidence in terms of him as a player, but also as a leader and with you guys as a team?
I feel that is great. I mean, me and him have had a conversation about that. I mean, kind of right before, we had that little May break. But, I mean, I feel like it's always good to see, see your person right next to you growing. I mean, especially someone that you've known for a long time. And I feel like me and him are, kind of in the same boat in the sense of, like, we're both getting back to ourselves. For as long as I can remember, Drew talks and talks and talks and talks. So, I mean, like, just seeing him, being able to come out here and feel comfortable to do that, it's great because and then now it's like now I got to go home and hear him. So it's like now I got to compete because I'm not trying to hear him when I go home. So, I mean, it's definitely great to see, the person next to you kind of growing with you as well.
When I ask this question, I'm sure some could imply that I'm either putting down the group a year ago or the team a year ago. I don't want to come across that way. But you have really hinted at, look, the guys we have brought in are not just really good people. They have really good basketball skill. How has the competition level and the talent rise within the program help you?
I mean, it makes me compete. I mean, just on a day-to-day, just knowing that, my spot's not really secure. That, I mean, coming in from last year, I mean, granted, I wasn't, playing or doing, the things that I wanted to do. But, I mean, I'm competing for a spot as well. So, and then those guys are, they're kind of putting pressure on me to, make sure I'm on my A game every day and I bring it. Because if I slip up, now it's like next man up. So, I mean, shout out to them because, I mean, they're coming in with a different mindset as well, which I really, really appreciate it because it's allowing me to, stay on my, heels and, keep going.
I know Prince and Isaiah get a lot of attention because, as you said, they've played college basketball for a long time. What have you learned from them so far this summer when you've had a chance to either just, chill with them at the apartment here in the arena? What's been something you've taken away already from them? I'm sure there's multiple things, but what's a main thing that you've taken away from them so far this summer?
Something that I see in both of them very similar. It's just their poise for the game. I mean, I feel like that just kind of comes, with a lot of learning. They don't speed up or slow down. And that's something that, I kind of admire because, I mean, I could get sped up, but I haven't really seen them, get sped up too many times. Like, they genuinely stay poised the whole time. And they dictate the game. They don't let the game dictate them. So, that's something that I feel like, once I seen that probably within the first 2-3 days, they're poised. So, I feel like for myself, I'm starting to, try to adapt from them because that's just something that, I've always, admired out of, a person.
Look, I don't think any of the coaches or even you guys as players, now you would love if there was a game tomorrow, but everyone's like, we probably still need some time to gel. I know this is an important time for that. But when you've had the time to play 5-on-5, when you split in the different teams, when you've seen different lineups, how would you describe the versatility of this group, what you've learned within that versatility of the group, and what you guys can show in terms of strengths with all the different lineups that you guys could potentially have as a group?
Yeah, nah, I think it's definitely good because, I mean, the amount of times that we went up and down, and then, one game I'm guarding this person, the next game I'm guarding another person. So, I mean, just the fact that, I'm not guarding the same person every game, and just the fact that we could have somebody big pick up a small, and then now I'm picking up a big. So, I mean, that just kind of helps with transition defense. So, just having, a lot of people versatile on the floor and just allowing, us to, kind of pick up whoever and then, switch it and then probably get back to the man if need be. I feel like it brings a lot of character to the team, and I think, in the future it'll kind of show and progress, who we are.
In terms of goal setting, I think all of us, whatever profession it is, you as a player, me as a broadcaster, there are always things when you set off at the start of a year, say, hey, I want to improve in these things, but I also want to show these things.
Mm-hmm.
What's maybe, if you don't mind sharing with our fans, like a tangible goal that you have set for yourself this year individually of, hey, this is a goal of mine that is something that is attainable and it's going to push you, but you're wanting to make that extra push to make it attainable?
I feel that, like, as a senior, I mean, the only way I feel like to be feel successful is kind of just to win. So I feel like as a senior, just kind of having this team ready and be able to compete every night. I mean, every day and every night, because I mean, I want to win a championship at the end of the day. I want to go to the NCAA tournament. So I feel like, right now, kind of harping on the little things and making sure everything's, kind of straight and, right on time. I feel like that's just kind of my job to make sure, that we get to that tournament, and I feel like it starts from now and not later.
How will this group embody what Coach Nagy, Coach Hawk, everybody on the staff says of defend, rebound, and run? How will this group really embody that?
I feel like, we've already, kind of adjusted our mindset. I think defense, it's a mindset. I feel like everybody's kind of adjusting. I mean, everybody's crashing. Everybody's, we're getting to it. We're getting after it. We're arguing about fouls and this and that. So, I mean, I feel like it's starting to, pick up, especially, it being the fourth week. We're starting to, carry over the things that we learned from the first week. But, yeah, I think this group is, we're really going to embody that for sure.
Now, no doubt you're one of the old heads around here now, being one of the older guys in college basketball. But what I've seen this summer, man, is you still got some bunnies. I feel like Davion Sykes within practice has been more willing to show that, hey, he can get up on that rim. Like, have you made that a point of emphasis this summer, especially when guys like, the young guys like Jalen Haynes and others, they want to really be, oh, look at my bunnies. But I'm like, here's just this, here's the old head, Davion Sykes, just casually doing it in practice.
Nah, I definitely could still get up. I got to show the young guys because, Jalen just the other day tried to say he jumped higher than me. I'm like, nah. I'm like, you ain't got it. I'm like, look, you just got here. You don't know. He don't know yet. But, me and him, we were actually arguing the other day. So ever since then, I feel like, I had to kind of step it up. So I blame Jalen Hayes.
You Texas boys just can't get along.
No, we can't.
You can't. You can only keep a few of you in a small amount of space.
Agreed. We definitely can't get along. Us three are always arguing for sure.
Well, Davion, it has been a joy to see the joy from you this summer. Not that you didn't have joy at any point last year, but you can really tell it you're having more of it this summer. Continue to enjoy it, and we look forward to seeing you have a great summer the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Once again, that was Davion Sykes. We got more coverage coming this week and all summer long for Saluki basketball here in summer of 2025.